The FCT Election Petition Tribunal last week nullified the elections of the incumbent chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, Christopher Zaka Meikalangu of the People's Democratic Party, and his Abaji Area Council counterpart, Abubakar Umar Abdullahi of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC. The judge said the APC candidate in AMAC scored the highest number of vote cast, more than the PDP candidate, owing to the cancellation of results at some polling units across the 12 political wards during the last council polls. The case is on appeal, so our focus is on the immediate reactions from the two political parties who are well represented here in the studio. For now, we have Honorable Emmanuel Iang, he's a member of the PDP and the supervisory councillor from the special duties from the Abuja Municipal Area Council. And Emmanuel, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me here.
I can assure you that we've reached out to the APC and we have gotten assurance that we will be joined on this show by a member of the APC, Muhammad Kabir Abubakar, whom you understand is still on his way here. As this conversation progresses, we are sure that he would join us and provide a balanced narrative to whatever PDP guest will be saying in the studio. It's a pleasure to have you join us once again this morning.
Thank you for having me like I heard.
We have seen the pronouncement of the court and the basis for some of those pronouncements. How would you react to judgment especially?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for having me here and for giving us opportunity to air out. You've just mentioned that a colleague of mine will be here from the APC to balance up whatever it said here. The tribunal started like it did and ended last week, Friday. The outcome of that tribunal is unacceptable to any of us. It has been rejected, and that is why we are in the appeal tribunal. First, election was conducted on the 12th of February using the beavers, and result was declared, and the candidate of the People's Democratic Party was declared the winner. Now, while in the tribunal, it was expected that the APC raised the complaint which they felt was not okay. 12 polling units that the APC raised at the tribunal. And all the 12 polling units, INEC was subpoenaed to appear based on those areas that the APC raised issues. They were in the tribunal. They came with their results and the report from the beavers on what trespassed at each of these polling units that they raised issues, 12 of them. They tendered it at the tribunal. The PDP invited its agent from the 12 polling unit as well that the APC raised issues. The PDP too came with a certified true copy of result collected at each of these polling units and also brought to the court. It tallies with what the INEC brought to the tribunal. Like I earlier said, the beavers was used for that election. Now, the APC was to prove on the issues of the 12 polling unit they raised on normalities that they felt must have happened. Unfortunate, none of the agents of the APC appeared in the tribunal. None. I should be quoted and corrected if there was one. None appeared to testify that those figures they claim were either counseled or were being manipulated for them to come and speak about it, because they were the ones at the polling unit and they signed the result sheet. Unfortunate again, those that were appearing to testify on issues that has to do with this polling unit that they raised issues were supervisors that is unknown to the law, unknown to INEC. If you may recall, before the election, INEC wrote to all the political parties asking them to submit lists of their agents to INEC. INEC then issued each of these polling agents with an ID card from INEC. So every political party that participated in that election had an ID card from INEC in each of the parties and each of the polling units. None of these people who appeared with a result that was unknown to testify about these 12 polling units were agents. That is one. Secondly, the APC brought the police and civil defense who were there at the polling unit to observe and ensure that there is peace and order in all the polling centers that elections were conducted. They were not directly or indirectly involved. Rather, their duties at the polling unit were to maintain peace and order. Normally, in an election like that just happened, after the result, the presiding officers in each of these polling units tears out result sheets to the party agents, the security agencies that were there, and every other persons that all those sheets will go across to. Came with these sheets that they claimed they collected at each of these polling units, 12 of the polling units that were raised, brought to the court. And they were questioned, those documents you were holding, are you the maker of those documents? They said no. They now asked them, the lawyer of the PDP asked them, were you directly involved in the election? They said their duty there was to maintain peace and order. And these were the election result sheets given to them at the end of the election. Now, they dropped it at the court. The civil defense did the same. They also came. They were also asked similar questions. They also answered in affirmative, like I earlier said. What actually happened? The tribunal jettisoned all that the INEC brought, even the Beavers report, but rather we're more interested to pick from the result that was brought with the Nigerian police, the civil defense, and the supervisors that appeared at the tribunal. The results that were brought by INEC were not the one that the tribunal, and I wish you are able to lay hands on the judgment of the tribunal. They never or did not make use of the subpoenaed INEC that appeared to supply the tribunal with the information that they had as the maker of the result, because they conducted that election using the Beavers.
So now with the analysis of the tribunal process that you've just given us right now, how confident are you with your appeal, the current appeal that you've lodged right now, that the perceived wrongs will be righted?
Yes, we have that confidence. We are in a society where we can always have the good people, even the bad people, even the good, the bad, and the ugly in the entire society. So it applies to every other society. And we strongly believe that if a wrong thing is done at the lower tribunal, and that was why the Electoral Act envisaged that if somebody disagreed or is not comfortable with what came out at the lower tribunal, you have a window of appealing. Let me give you a typical example. Before the present chairman was sworn in, there was a judgment elongating the tenure of the former chairman. And we went to court to challenge that elongation at the court of High Court. What did the High Court did through the Chief Judge of FCT? Reverse back that case to the same judge that gave the initial judgment, that he should retry the case. We all went back at Kubwa, where the first judgment was given by the same judge. I am here to tell you that the same judge that gave the initial judgment retreated that judgment, revised himself, and said the judgment he gave was in error and the court was misled. Now, if the PDP, for whatsoever happened, or the candidate that was elected did not approach the court again, the first judgment he gave would have stand. The tenure elongation for 1 year would have stand. But because we felt it was wrong, we seek redress and later reversed back to him to retry the case, and eventually he gave a counter judgment from the initial. And that was why the present chairman was sworn in. So what I'm saying is that the purpose of having an appeal, we have an appeal, is for you to vindicate whatsoever you felt went wrong at the lower tribunal. And we are confident that men in the appeal tribunal have been persons who have handled series of cases, experienced as well. So we strongly believe, by the grace of God, that at the appeal tribunal, justice will be seen to be done.
Okay. Just for clarification, is INEC joining you on the appeal, given that they have a position that they feel.
Yes, INEC is also, INEC is also in the appeal.
Okay.
Yes.
The other thing is, so what is the situation of things right now? Have you filed a stay of execution, or you have immediately complied with the position of the tribunal before going on appeal?
Yes, we did the both.
Okay.
Notice of appeal and also stay of execution.
So right now, the PDP candidate as chairman subsists as we speak?
As I speak to you, I'm still in the office.
Okay.
Yes.
And we know this applies to both AMAC and Abaji. So what's the situation in Abaji?
Well, the situation in Abaji, like the judgment of Abaji came. The judgment of Abaji had to do with the candidature of the APC.
Okay.
Now, what the judgment says was that as at the time of election, on the 12th of February, APC had no candidate.
Can you explain that whole contest and scenario?
Yes, the contest is this. There was a primaries in the APC, and there was a bone of contention among the aspirants in their party. And along the line, one of them went to court and said that he was supposed to be the candidate, not this other person. So they were in court. As at on the 12th of February, no candidate was known to INEC. It was after 12th of February, I think the court they went to finally gave judgment that gave the present chairman of Abaji, who is from the APC, opportunity to be sworn in as the candidate-elect. So PDP felt that it was wrong. You cannot have your internal problems, and that comes to affect other political parties. This is an internal problem which ought to have been settled by them. PDP had no issues about them, whether they have their internal problem or not. We went to election. The situation PDP faced was that two persons from the APC were campaigning for chairmanship at the same time in Abaji, which is against the Electoral Act. Two of them.
But just so that our viewers are clear at home, like we said earlier before this conversation started, we were to have a representative of the APC in the studio. As I speak to you up to this moment, he's still giving us confirmation that he's on his way, just so it doesn't appear that we seem to be giving voice to just one party in the contention. But coming back to you, Mr. Iang, Nigerians will contend, well, however correct that information is, I don't know, that in our political systems, we seem to vote for party, not the candidate. And it would seem correct that the people had chose the party, irrespective of who was on the ballot, and not the candidate. Is that position clear? I mean, is that position correct? Right?
Now, like I told you, two candidates or two aspirants of the APC were campaigning. Now, I may like, for example, as far as that election was concerned, PDP had one candidate, while APC were having two aspirants. Fine. What that implies is that, let's assume 100 persons are expected to vote, and maybe 20 persons like one of the aspirants of the APC. Maybe another 30 or 26 or 28 like the other APC candidate, while the PDP person, let's assume, had maybe 20 or 30 persons that likes him, and similar to other political parties that were in the contest. Now, the 20 that likes the other APC aspirant, and maybe the 25 that likes this other APC candidate, were all voting for APC because of the candidate, not the party, as it were, because they were individuals. The ballot paper did not carry pictures of anybody, but rather carried the logo of a political party. And since these two of them were campaigning at the same time, definitely you should expect that forces from this side and this side were to come together. It's a similar thing almost happened in AMAC. But as God would like it, judgment came on Thursday, and election was on Saturday. Suleiman Bagwa and Mohammed Karishi were also campaigning until Thursday, when the judgment from the Supreme Court came. So there wouldn't have been any way APC would have won that election. Why? Because whether I like it or not, there may be some persons who are members of the APC who would have preferred Suleiman, but along the line, the Supreme Court gave it to the man from Karishi. It is just natural that somebody will pick offense. That, okay, fine, if it's like that, I can go any other way, or I can decide not to come out to vote. That was exactly what happened.
All right, now, so coming back to the AMAC tribunal judgment, there were reports, or should I say, there were reports of some ruckus at after the pronouncement was made. There was a report of some ruckus, some youth actually engaged in some sort of violence or protests or celebration. It was all convoluted. What's your perspective on that?
Exactly what you just said was exactly what happened.
Okay.
But before I say exactly about that, let me raise an issue.
Okay.
Sir, judgment was given on Friday, said about 2, 3 thereabout. So it was not up to 10 minutes when that judgment was given that we saw it on posts from our friends in the APC, posting orders of the same court. What was the order? Asking the INEC to issue a certificate of return to the APC guy. Asking the Honorable Minister to immediately swear in the APC man. Also, retrieving the certificate of return from the PDP candidate that was sworn in as the chairman. Not up to 10 minutes that judgment was given. But as I speak with you, since Friday, the PDP and its candidate has been in that same tribunal almost on a daily basis with their lawyers to get a judgment copy of the same tribunal that delivered on Friday. If we have gotten it, then it must have been yesterday night. Because as at 2 p.m. yesterday, we were yet to get a copy. But here we are. The same document we were looking for, the APC was already having it, putting it on Facebook. Now, because of that judgment, some persons who never understood the background of that judgment, because the same Electoral Act gave us an opportunity of 14 days leverage to appeal. And that same judgment said that a certificate of return be given to the APC candidate. Now, the jubilation was that the man must be sworn in immediately. If you felt that judgment was a good one and it favored you, fine. Which means you are coming to inherit Abuja Municipal Area Council as the new headship. Why going to AMAC to destroy things, a place you are coming to inherit? That was very true. But we thank the security agencies for quick intervention. But for anything that was within that gate, within the gate of Area 10, Abuja Municipal, was destroyed. Because the gate was quickly locked, nobody was allowed in, nobody was allowed to come out for that period until the security took full control. Now, what we are saying is that the position of the law is very clear. And again, you can appeal with or without the judgment. And that was what we quickly did. That same Friday, when we saw this post on Facebook already, the orders were already on Facebook. While we tried till night when we left that court premises to also see if we can get that same judgment, that we did not get. We quickly start preparing for appeal on that same Friday. Then on Saturday morning, I and others were all there to ensure that we effect the possible notice of appeal and also the issue of stay of execution. So that was exactly what happened.
Thank you very much. We've been talking to Mr. Emmanuel Yang from the PDP, who has been giving us the PDP side of things with regards to the nullified elections of AMAC and that of the Abaji Area Council. We will take a short break. When we return, this conversation continues. Please stay with us.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Daybreak on Trust Television. We have been discussing the issues of the AMAC nullified elections by the court, and we've been talking to Honorable Emmanuel Yang, who is a member of the PDP and the Supervisory Councillor from Special Duties of the Abuja Municipal Area Council. Let me also put it on record that we are expecting Mohammed Kabir Abubakar, a member of the APC, to also join this conversation. And up till this moment, we are still receiving assurance that he would be here before this show wraps. We've been hearing the side of things, from the perspective of the PDP concerning the developments in the Abuja Municipal Area Council, as well as the Abaji area councils, the issues under contention, and the way forward. Mr. Yang, have we been able to get a date of the appeal as it is right now?
No, for now we've not gotten a date, but the paperwork and the tidying up of all the needed documents is being done by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate. And we are waiting for the tribunal to give us a date.
So why we wait? What next for supporters of the party?
That same day, that same Friday, when that incident happened at Abuja Municipal Area Council, we immediately released a press statement asking all our supporters, those in PDP and even those who voted for us on the 12th of February, who are not members of any political party, to please remain calm, and pleaded with all of us and every other person not to be provoked by the recent incident at the tribunal and that happened, the security breach at the gate of Abuja Municipal Area Council. We pleaded with Nigerians not to take laws into their hands and allow the due process of law to take its course. That we did, and the chairman has been preaching this piece, immediately also summoned the graded chiefs and non-graded chiefs to also plead with them and ask them to go back to their domain and preach the same gospel that he has already notified for appeal and all that, and also stay of execution. So for now, he's still the executive chairman of AMAC, and that they should please allow peace to reign. Considering the security situation in the country, we should not do anything that will aggravate the situation we're already facing.
All right, I have two questions. The first one is quite simple. The stay of execution that you actually request, has it been granted?
Yes.
Okay. So you went to the tribunal.
Yes.
Results didn't go your way. You went on appeal. What happens if the appeal doesn't go your way? Is there a plan B for the party?
Well, as you are all aware, the area council tribunal has lower tribunal and the appeal tribunal. It ends there. Whatever comes there, that's the will of God. We'll take it in good faith. But we are aware and we know that we had a genuine vote that gave us that victory, and that the Beavers was under test. And again, what we as a person want to say, 2023 is just here. And if you may recall, the only hope that has made a lot of persons to go out now to register is that assurance that their vote will count. With the introduction of Beavers, people are becoming to have confidence in the electoral process that whatsoever the beavers captured. Sir, let me also inform you, to be fair to INEC, they did some of those things they have been telling us when we thought maybe it was just a mere say. We saw it at the collation center, of the area council. Each of the ward results, you see it on screen. Even before results from those polling units came, it was already on screen because they were all transferred right from the polling units. I was also the member of the returning officers team for the party. We were two of us, myself and other of my colleagues, at Karosite INEC office. When we got there, shockingly and surprisingly, the big television that was there, we were seeing everything. We were looking at our own, the result we were having, and seeing. That was even before results start coming in. We were already seeing it, we were checking. Now, what does that imply is that the idea of the process of taking one result sheet to the collation center at the ward level, somebody can snatch it or do anything, dies. Because while all of you are there, including the agent and whatsoever, the result will be transferred immediately there. Now, we are believing that what has come out from the lower tribunal, good and fine, is also a lesson to all the lawyers. For wherever mistakes came out or whatever was to be done which was not done, all of that will be corrected. And possibly the Beavers report too will be needed as well, where all of these things will be. Let me be frank with you. Before the tribunal commenced fully, there was a directive from INEC, from the tribunal, that INEC allows the APC to come and check the ballots from ward to ward. We as a party also applied that we want to be there while they are carrying out these checks and photocopying and all of that. And we're all there. None of this report, based on what took place at that investigation between the APC, the PDP, the INEC, none of this was brought to the tribunal.
Okay. Finally, before we go, what is the situation with Abaji? In this case, with AMAC, you have appealed. With Abaji, have your person been sworn in, or have the APC also approached the tribunal?
Yes, the PDP candidate in Abaji has not been sworn in.
Okay.
Just like I earlier said, the Abaji candidate of the APC too have also appealed the tribunal and also seek a stay of execution. So that's the position. And that is why, if you may recall I think it on Monday, where the APC supporters were at Area 11, insisting that the minister swear them in. Unfortunately, they are very intelligent persons, which I have my friends in the APC. You're asking the minister to swear you in without a certificate of return from INEC. Because INEC has been served with a notice of appeal and stay of execution. So the possibility for the certificate to be issued was not there.
Interesting. What a way to bring this conversation to a close. Let me state here again for the records that we were supposed to have been joined on this show by a member of the APC, Mohammed Kabir Abubakar, who was supposed to have provided the APC side of things with regards to this conversation. Be that as it may, I want to thank you. We want to thank you, Honorable Emmanuel Eyang, a member of the PDP and Supervisory Councillor from the Special Duties of the Abuja Municipal Area Council, for making it to the studio and providing the information that we requested as much as possible. We hope that whenever we call you again, you will find the time to be here as this conversation continue. Thank you for making it.
I thank you as well.